It was a tale that seemed almost too strange to be real. Whispers of buried gold, a man's obsession with wealth, and a mystery that has lingered for decades. They called him Thomas Aldridge, a quiet yet calculating man who never truly belonged anywhere. He was the kind of person who never trusted banks, never trusted friends, and believed that the only way to protect his riches was to keep them hidden deep in the earth where no one could take them away. Thomas wasn't born wealthy. He grew up in a working-class family during the Great Depression, where every penny was stretched thin. The fear of losing what little they had scarred him deeply, and it became the driving force of his adult life. He worked tirelessly, odd jobs, small trading deals, even questionable schemes that skirted the line of legality. By middle age, he had quietly amassed a fortune in cash, coins, and gold bars. Yet he lived modestly in a creaky farmhouse on the outskirts of town. His neighbors thought he was eccentric, but harmless. They had no idea of the treasure he hoarded in secret, obsessed with the idea that the banking system could collapse or thieves might one day find his wealth. Thomas devised a plan. He would bury his fortune. Over several nights, he packed wooden crates with gold coins, rare bills, and silver ingots, then hauled them out into dense woods that stretched for miles behind his property. With a lantern in one hand and a shovel in the other, he dug deep pits in the cold earth, lowering his riches into the ground. By the time he was finished, he had hidden nearly everything he owned. To Thomas, this was the ultimate safety net, his personal vault, safe from prying eyes. But paranoia is a dangerous companion. As the years passed, Thomas became increasingly isolated, fearful that even speaking of his secret might cost him everything. He scribbled maps on scraps of paper, coded with strange markings and numbers only he understood, then burned most of them the following day, afraid someone might stumble upon them. The few notes he kept were hidden in books, under floorboards, even sewn into the lining of his old coat. Then, one night in the winter of 1962, Thomas vanished. His truck was found abandoned by a dirt road not far from his property, keys still in the ignition. Inside were supplies, shovels, rope, and lantern oil, suggesting he had gone out to either hide more treasure or retrieve some. But there was no sign of Thomas himself. No body, no clear evidence of foul play. He had simply disappeared into the night, leaving behind only questions and the fortune buried in the earth. The discovery of his disappearance ignited a storm of speculation. Some believed he met a tragic end in the forest, perhaps falling into one of his own pits, trapped forever beneath the soil he dug. Others suspected robbery, that someone had followed him, killed him, and taken the treasure for themselves. Yet no one ever came forward with sudden wealth, and no trace of the riches was found. Years turned into decades, and Thomas Aldridge's name became legend. Treasure hunters flocked to the woods behind his property, armed with metal detectors and shovels, convinced they might be the ones to strike gold. Rumors grew. Claims of coins unearthed, strange symbols carved into trees, ghostly figures seen wandering at night. Still, nothing concrete ever surfaced. What made the mystery even more chilling was the possibility that Thomas himself never intended to return. Some whispered he had staged his disappearance, leaving behind his old life to start anew under a different name. Others believe he had been consumed by his paranoia, burying himself alongside the fortune he had guarded so fiercely. Today, the land where Thomas once lived is overgrown, swallowed by nature. The farmhouse has collapsed, the dirt road rarely traveled. But the legend lives on. Somewhere beneath the tangled roots and layers of earth, many believe millions in treasure still lies waiting to be uncovered. The fortune left behind by a man whose obsession became his undoing. It is a story of greed, fear, and the human need for control. Thomas Alders believed he had outsmarted the world, that his secret would protect him. Instead, it became the very thing that erased him from history. And as long as the treasure remains hidden, his ghost lingers too, not in body, but in the whispers of those still searching, still hoping, still digging in the cold silence of the woods. Because somewhere out there, beneath the soil and shadows, the fortune remains. Please subscribe for more true crime stories.